begin carving our plate with the center rosette. Notice I've already taken out half of the rosette, so you'll be able to see exactly what we're doing in this mirror image on the other side. We're going to begin with these very large chips in the center. I'd encourage you to get out a practice board and try these before you try it on your plate. Make sure your practice board is thick enough to handle these large chips. If you're uncertain, always be sure to put another piece of wood underneath that practice board in case you happen to carve through. To make it easier removing these large chips, I'm going to show you a technique that really helps a lot. And that is carving out a smaller version of the chip in the center. So that's what I'm going to do here. I made one cut. I'll make a second cut. And a third cut. Now, these don't have to be very accurate. Just take out a little bit of the wood in the center of the chip, but don't get too close to your lines that you're going to be carving on. Okay, now I'm all set to make my first cut, which is a with the grain cut. I'm going to start right up here. It's a big wide chip, so I have to get plenty of depth. Going with the grain isn't nearly as hard as going cross grain, so I felt like I got enough depth there. Start shallow on this cut and come on up. I'm going to give quite a bit of force to get my depth. I miss a line a little bit, that's okay. And now I'll see if that chip's going to come out or not. Get my depth. I heard it click but didn't quite come out. That means it's hanging up somewhere on one of these cuts. I'm going to try this cut here rather than the with the grain cut. There it is. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do in the bottom. Go in with the same technique, holding your knife properly with your thumb locked against the lower portion of the handle. Use that same technique time and time again. If you need a refresher on proper technique, log into your free gold membership at My Chip Carving and look at the first lesson that's posted there that deals with technique. Okay, that chip came out real nicely. I could tell I kept a consistent angle because all three of the cuts met right down in the center of that chip. We'll try another one and we'll use the same technique. Remove a small chip first in the center. And then the next cut will be away from your previous chip. So I'm going to take this cut down the line. Now I see that that previous cut wasn't on the line, it's a little crooked. To straighten that out, I'm going to make sure my knife rides along the bottom of that previous cut, and I can straighten that out a little bit. And make it look a lot cleaner and neater. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and make this cut, which is away from the chip I just took out. Plunge down to get your depth. And then draw it out to the center. Notice the angle of my knife stays the same on all the cuts. To transition from with the grain to across, I had to slide my knife out a little bit to make that a smooth transition. Alright, those two are done. I'll do the same thing for the next two. Alright, those are the hardest, and they'll provide the greatest challenge for you in carving this rosette. So now that those are done, we can move ahead to the outside portion of this rosette. I'll start in here and I'll carve these chips that you see I've already taken out. My first cut being away from these large chips we just removed. We'll start all the way up here, shallow to begin with. Get a little more depth through there because right in there is the bottom and the deepest part of the chip. And draw it out. Now I would do all 4 or all 8 cuts at the same time. But if you're just beginning to chip carve, do them one at a time so you get the feel for each chip, which I'll show you here. I've made the inside cut. Next I'll take this cut, shallow. I'm going to carve just outside the pattern line. There's the depth, and draw it out to there. Start up on the top where you left off. Go down and get your depth. And carefully draw out to the end. Alright, so that's how you take out those chips in the center. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for these remaining 3. With those chips removed, we're all set to move to this portion of our carving, right up in here. And these are just 2-sided chips. Again, I'm going to remind you, use proper technique. Hold your knife, lock your thumb against the handle, keep your thumb on the wood, and your knuckle and the point of the tip to form a stable base. Alright, I'll just work my way around one of these and show you how it's done. Start up on the top, get my depth through the center of the chip because that's where it's widest and deepest. And I'll turn the plate and start at the bottom from shallow to deep and out. The next cut will be away from the chip I just took out, shallow. Get your depth across the center, draw it out, and then work your way from the top down in the center. Okay, I'll repeat that for these going right around this part of our pattern design. These chips are not very wide, so you don't need to go very deep. Carve away as much of the pattern line as possible. It'll just save you some cleanup at the end. That's how that's done. And now we're all set. We'll repeat that same process on these three. Okay, we're working our way from the inside to the outside. Next, we'll take these curve cuts that surround our leaf pattern in the center. Seeing as I've already done this half, I need to take out this chip first, and I'll make the cut with the grain away from that chip to begin with. Get your depth and draw it out to there. Turn the plate. Next I'll make this curve cut. Start shallow. Come around. Get your depth. I feel like I'm having a little trouble getting enough depth there. Let's cross grain and draw it out to there. I don't think this chip is going to come out, but we'll see. That's hard. This is a very tough piece of basswood I'm working with here. Not all basswood is as soft as one piece is to another. Sometimes it gets some that are pretty hard. Right there I could tell I didn't get enough depth first time across. Okay, that's removed. Next I'll take this chip that's away from these previous chips. So I'll start up here on the top. And carve right along that ridge. Make a nice, clean, sharp edge right up on top where those two chips are back to back. Turn the plate, and we start down here, very shallow. Get some little more depth through there, and draw your knife out right up to the top. So there's that sharp edge I was talking about, right along there. Okay, next I can take out this chip, and then we'll take that one up there. I'm going to take the inside of the curve first, from shallow, a little more depth. Come on down. I want to come all the way to the center. Pick up where you left off. I'll come straight up this line here, and then it curves from here right out to there. My next cut is away from the previous chip, so I'll start up here, take out the chip, plunge down, and draw out right to there. Alright, I'll just repeat this right along the outside, one chip after another. My next chip I'll take out will be this one, followed by this one, and I'll repeat that all the way around the outside, here, 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 and here, and go right around the rosette. We're all set to move out to the ring around the outside of this rosette, It's made up of small three-cornered chips. There are separate lessons on how to take out a three-cornered chip in your Gold Member Video Vault. So I'd encourage you to go back and look at that if you've not done these before. I'll go over them fairly quickly. The first cut I want to make will be the cut away from the chips we've already taken out. So that'll be this baseline cut right there. Take that cut. Then we'll pick up right where we left off, and I'll make a cut from there, slicing cut from there to the bottom to the top. And the last cut is a small little plunge down to the bottom to remove the three-cornered chip. Let me show you that once again. Take the baseline cut first, slicing cut from shallow to get a little bit of depth. These chips are not very big, so they don't require much depth at all. Continue where you left off and make a slicing cut from shallow to deep. And the third cut is a small little plunge cut from the top to the bottom to take out the chip. Now with so many of these three-cornered chips to take out, to save yourself time and be much more efficient, take all of the baseline cuts around the ring first, and then come back and take your second cut and third cut, chip by chip, all the way around the ring. And that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, that finishes our rosette. In the next lesson, move along to the border, and I'll show you how that's taken out. Thanks for joining me for this lesson, and I'll see you here again next time. And remember, introduce a kid to chip carving.